The problem that I have is that, and I don't know, I think we need to talk about the other elephant in the room is what we all think of musicals, because I think they're embarrassing as hell and I hate them. So this movie is like, to me, I'm like watching an album that I grew to like die on screen as this movie unfolds, because I just think it's all so corny and embarrassing.
Oh, man.
Yeah, musicals are a extremely specific art form. And again, it as I was saying at the very beginning, like the process of adapting something to a musical is the process of making it as complicated and corny and uncool as possible.
Yeah.
And like stilted and like taking rock songs and like stripping out all the rock from them and putting in its place, replacing it with like ornateness and brittleness and
like complicated sort of a cappella like harmonies.
Yeah, exactly. I like musicals when they lean into their stupid musicalness of them. Like I like The Music Man and stuff like that, where it's like, this is a big dumb musical and not something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the other thing I'm thinking is like musicals remind me of what like local, whatever city you live in, local theater productions trying to do Shakespeare. They've been trying to make it like this rock star thing for like 20 years. Like they don't make like normal musicals anymore. Yes. It always has to be like, Come the musical. They're trying to be all edgy.
Yeah.
And I hate it. Also, I will point out my wife watched it with me yesterday. It was my third time trying to make her watch it, and she's like, fine, I'll finally watch it with you. And while I was looking at my phone, she noticed, I don't know if you guys noticed, but Lin-Manuel was there at the rehearsal.
Oh,
fuck. I did not know that.
One shot.
That's
He's
why
there.
it's so blessed.
Oh yeah!
Wow, I didn't realize that.
I feel a little attacked by, in particular, Josiah's take on musicals.
And I am genuinely trying to attack him.
I know,
right
and I appreciate that. When you were like, I just want to set the stage here. I don't like you, Sam, and that's fine. So, I love musicals. I grew up on musicals. I wrote a musical version of Jaws when I was in university, and it actually ended up being fairly successful. We staged it multiple times in Toronto.
Oh my God.
I traveled a bit around Canada, and then we actually did it off Broadway in New York. And to date, it is the only, it's maybe the most successful creative project I've ever undertaken, because it's the only thing I've ever done with a Wikipedia page.
That's wild.
So, congratulations.
I mean, no, that's fine. But just to give you an idea of like, I'm coming to this as like much of a fan of the format as you could possibly be.
Yeah, you were all up in it.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah,
like, this is like, I'm looking at this just being like, why can't I be Newsroom Jim? You know,
I love it.
Did you see American Idiot?
I saw American Idiot in Toronto.
Did
any of you guys see it anywhere?
No.
But Molly and I did see another rock musical by the same director of this musical, his restaging of Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
Yes.
That came out 3 years ago.
3 years ago? Yeah.
It was good.
It was good.
Hedwig rules.
And I saw Spring Awakening, which he also did. Because that's what, it was funny. I was like looking at seeing the kind of choreography that they were using. I was like, oh, this is funny. This is some real like Spring Awakening ass shit where everyone's just sort of like gesturing and like flapping their arms around, but
punching
not moving their legs.
Punching the sky.
Yeah, punching different directions. And
well, does it not feel like the first half of this movie at least is edited exactly like Waiting for Guffman?
Yes.
It feels like a mockumentary. There's a point where Billy Joe says, I just really don't want it to be corny.
Yes,
and then it cuts to Newsroom Jim, and he literally says, I wrote it down, note to self, get me the fuck out of Turd Town.
It's a smash cut to Newsroom Jim singing Jesus of Suburbia, like with the corniest, punkest facial expression.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the moment where you're like, this feels like parody. I also think like musicals shouldn't be shot this close. Like it's one of those things where like you don't want to know how your sausage gets made. Like if you're in the rafters and he's going, get me the fuck out of Turd Town, you're like, all right.
There's
like,
a reason that's in rehearsal.
Big and corny, but like that close up, you're like, I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
That's like a sentiment I had when I saw Book of Mormon. And you know the main take, or the way that play was being sold was like Matt and Trey are South Parking up Broadway, and then you see that musical and you're like, no, they didn't South Park up Broadway down South Park. It's like they were trapped in there with Broadway. You can't get out of the undeniable corniness of a Broadway play. That's just like a base level trueness that no matter how edgy your material is, you could do the Gigi Allen musical, and it would still be fucking and somebody should, and I will,
Yes.
and it would still end up being corny in a Broadway way.
It's because it has to be so big. Everything has to be so big and exaggerated because that's how you have to watch theater.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's
I did as time went on, and especially when Billy Joe, spoiler alert, guests for One Night Only, and he sings, and I was like, oh shit, this is actually so good. And the Grammys performance seemed good, so I realized maybe I just hate Newsroom Jim.
I mean, I'll be alone in that, man. You know what though? I think that Mormon works in a way that American Idiot doesn't because of what you just said, Chris. Like that it understood the format and played, I think, within the kind of like very clear box that is like a Broadway show. Mm-hmm. And then it was very successful as that. Whereas I think American Idiot, because they tried so hard to make it like we're punking up Broadway, the result is like profoundly, like it's so cringe inducing. Like it gives you full body embarrassment chills to watch any of this happen. And I say that as someone who loves musicals and loves The Record. You're just like, you can't, some things just like aren't meant to go together. And this is one of those things.
I love that other guy who's like, he sings the Sig Hail part and he punks it up so much.
He's so
funny.
He's the guy who I think does the like when they're doing the cast photo shoot, when it's like it's all coming together and the cast is really like connecting to the material, and there's like that montage of them being like, I'm disaffected too, and you're like, oh shit, these kids are really fucked up by the war. And then I'm pretty sure there's a point where they're like all pretending to drink because there's no way they were actually like just getting drunk at their photo shoot. And then that guy who does like, "Say Kyle," screams, "I am the king of fuck." And the director's looking around like, oh my God, this is so sick. And it's like extremely not sick.
Oh my God.
Yes, that weird sequence where they're all holding full high lives. In some parking lot, and you're like, what is
this? Yes. Like a trailer shoot or something?
Yeah.
It's very confusing.
There were several moments there's the other moment where like, there was this one night when we were all just hanging out, and then people picked up musical instruments and started to play, and then
there was a photo booth.
The band started playing.
Oh yeah.
And then it was just doing a concert, and everybody was hanging out and drinking in a photo booth, and Molly just turns to me and was like, so a cast party. You had a cast party.
Yeah,
like pretty normal.
Yeah.
How is a photo booth even worth noting?
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere without there being a photo booth.
I mean, again, it was like 2008, so maybe that was the dawn of having random photo booths.
This was the first party that ever had a photo booth.
Yeah. No, it's just so special. It's like you got to take pictures with each other.
It's just like so random.
Yeah, it's so random.
There was like a photo booth there.
When they first show Billy the arrangement that sounds like Beach Boys, and it's the beautiful wall of sound or whatever.
Yes.
I feel like that was a misrepresentation of what the musical actually sounded like.
Yes.
Like I would have signed off on that too. I would have been like, oh damn, this is beautiful. I love this. But then they didn't show all the like stanky punk voices that they were going to do later on.
When the director's giving direction and he's like, don't worry about the things, you're just thinking like, fuck.
Don't worry about singing. Just hold that fuck in your mind.
Yeah. Like that was the direction. Like it's so, I mean, it's just so clear that again, there's no way to properly mix like what is happening here, where I think it's the musical director is like describing this one like really emotional scene where what's her name and Newsroom Jim are like doing drugs for the first time. And he literally uses the phrase, and he looks really emotional when he's saying it. He goes, and they're
I wrote this
shooting up on drugs.
Yes.
It's like
in a very romantic way.
Yeah.
Yes.
The amount of embarrassment he has to say the word drugs on camera is palpable.
Shooting up on drugs. Yeah.
Also,
I personally love to shoot up on drugs.
That guy's always looking for an excuse to just like show how sick he is at piano. Like how they are or where they are. He'll be like, oh, what if we did it like this?
I loved when they did that scene with the shooting up on drugs, when they cut to like a close up of the spoon being like lit on fire. I was like, oh fuck, no. They're shooting up on drugs.
Oh yeah, a lot of rubber tubing.
Yeah.